Hi everybody, this is Pam and we are going to watercolor in the scripture. I know many of you in January joined me as we went through some of the Psalms, and I took a break and we are back and we are going to do a verse and a picture. And today we're going to do tulips. We're going to do them with watercolor, kind of loose, and we're also going to do ink. So anyway, let's get started. And our verse today is James 1, verse 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him. Looking for some wisdom today for any type of situation? Don't really know what you need to do, what direction you need to take on the two different paths set before you? Ask God for wisdom to prove that you trust him. Ask God today for guidance. Let's paint. So we're going to be using my Minling watercolor. I'm going to put it here. I don't want to shut it because it's kind of wet up here. It's a new set I got. It is just the little bigger version of the other one. It has a few more colors, but basically we're going to use general colors. You can pick whatever color tulips you want to paint. I'm going to stick with kind of a pink. When I did this card, I had a pink background, so that's where I began to match it. We're going in our journal today, so it's going to be a little bigger. And we're going to put the verse at the top. I'm going to be using my number 2 round brush the most, probably. And pink and green are the main 2 colors. All right, so this is our journal. We've had this out before. I took the time to write out what I want to do for the verse, and I'm going to write it just because that way I can put the tulips around it for us. So the verse is going to be ask. And you can use whatever type of style you like. And I just kind of chose this one. I practiced a little bit, so I knew what I wanted. And ask God and we probably could take a little more time coming up with some fancier writing, but we're going to go with this one. He will answer. And that is found in James 1 verse 5. Again, this is our journal, so we're you could do this on a card. I find my journal to be very helpful for practicing things that I might want to put on a card later. The journal is yours, so you can make mistakes and you can practice and you can design it any way you like, but it's a great way to come up with a design for a card. I found that I go back to my journals often to get inspiration on drawing another card that I want to make. So my tulips, I'm going to do one little quick thing here to show you how I draw tulips. Tulips are basically a U, okay? They have thick stems and they have almost all pretty much have a U shape. Some of them will come more cup shape. Some of them will come out more like that. Basically, I'm going to stick pretty much to this style. And as you can see, I kept them more oval. I'm going to leave this right up here, but you can still see that while we're going. Okay, I like to do tulips 2 ways. I like to have where this is my stem, one petal I should say, and this petal comes down, and then I like to kind of, so you can see a little crack in it, because I want it to form like a tulip. This is going to be your back petal. That's one. I don't like this type. That's a side view. A forward view would be the same idea, except now I'm going to put my petal almost the whole thing. Okay, and then this one's going to come down. This one came in a little bit more, but then you could add some back here. They don't really have any middle that you see when you're looking straight at them that I ever really see. They have, like I said, a thicker stem, and they have big leaves. With the leaves, let's go with our stem here. I find that most of the time the stems are covered, and they're kind of a wavy. Sometimes I get them wavier, sometimes I make them, and I try to hide that stem underneath there. Okay, this one I did it where I came up and I went down and I come back up. So this is going to be kind of an angle, like we're looking like it bent over and comes back down again. Again, your stem is going to be hidden in there. Okay, so it gives you some ideas on when we're drawing. This particular one, I really went off the paper. The leaves probably would be a little longer because tulips are usually quite tall. Now, when I paint, I freehand. And it's mainly because I like to. I don't know why, but we're going to go with my pink, and I'm going to add just a little bit of orange. I think I'm going to go just a little teeny bit of orange just to make it a little peach here, I think. I don't know if it's really going to be peach here. It's really going to stay pink, but that's the color I wanted. And if we keep our picture up here, I think we can see everything. I'm just making sure. I'm going to put my first one down a little lower, and he's the first one I'm going to do. So I'm going to try. He's going to be rather loose. My paint, as you can see, is quite runny. And I'm going not to try filling in all the places. So if I start with I just rinsed my brush out. It's not wet on wet. It's going to be dry, but I'm going to just clean the brush out and let the water do some work. But try to leave some white space if you can. Now the problem with freehanding is, am I making it big enough to suit myself? We'll find out. My second one's going to come, and I'm going to tuck it right in the back here like he's going to, and we can put more variation in the color as we go, but I want that white space on the side and I want the white space between the top and the back, so just to help with color. We're also doing the pen and ink, which is going to be which will help give it more dimension as we go. I am adding the same color, just darkening it up here and there. It's pretty wet. Might try to smooth it out a little bit because I don't find them to be real ragged. But if we're going to let that set a second while we go to the next one, and then we're going to come back and add a little bit because he's pretty wet and I want him to have a little more color. So again, we're going to come with one side and the other, and this one I really kind of want it to wiggle around, and that's where that petal is going to be. These are definitely a looser flower than some that we've done. And this one right now is ending up being even looser than those were. Part of it is the difference in paper. Probably this journal is a little bit different type paper, how it's sucking it in. And the last one, I think we're going to put him higher. That is the reason that I wrote here first, so that I could kind of see where I wanted to put my tulips. We're going to put him so he goes the opposite way the other one did, which doesn't look that way at the moment. And you have to know I'm working over top of a camera, so sometimes I'm not getting quite the direction I want. Or it gets messier than I want, but that's okay. But I want to make sure we keep that spot if we can. And that's very, very rough, okay? We're going to go back to our pink again, and we're going to make it just a little bit heavier. Not quite as damp, just a little bit of orange in there. I might have got too much orange because I want the paint a little more concentrated. And I'm going to come back to the first one, and I want these tips to kind of be dark along these edges. And you'll see what I do in a minute. I'm going to define, and then I'm going to clean my brush off, and I'm going to reactivate that so that it will kind of blend down in there for you. You have to get some water on it, not a lot, but you got to get enough to get that heavier concentrate that you just put on to move. I don't mind seeing the heavier color, but I would like it to blend in a little bit more than being too concentrated. See what I did there? We'll see it even better on like this one, where I want this to be where I came all the way over here, and that's that part. Rinsing the brush off, so it just got water. And I needed a little wetter than I did. And now that you got it wet, you can even go back into your paint again and activate a little more. Like this one here, I don't like the way this went. I'm gonna fix him up there. I really like to see him a little fatter. Go a little bit out here. He's kind of kittywampus on this side here. We'll get a little more paint, and that's what happens when you freehand them. I want that bottom to be a little darker. So I'm just going to keep adding a little color in there. I want it to be darker right there. Again, I rinsed the brush out. I want that center to be darker. These ended up being a little more peachy than my first ones, which is fine. I wanted something different. Like I said, you pick what color you want your tulip to be. I don't care. Another option, and maybe we'll just do that so I can show you. So we've got this one, he's pink. Tulips actually come with two colors at times. I'm gonna mix some orange, some yellow, which is gonna look a little dirty because it might go into the pink bit, but it's meant to be yellow. So on this one, we're going to put yellow in here instead of the darker color. And we're going to make that the accent color. Just a little bit more. Rinsing out my brush. And giving it a whole new color with the yellow, just for something different. You can do that and keep them all the same. I'd like to have a little more pink, I think, down here. And I really think I want him a little bit wider. And so we'll just take that more concentrated spot. A little bit maybe on this side as well. There. So there's our tulips. We're going to let those dry. We're going to come back and add some more detail to them. For the green, I'll mix it up in front of you. How I'm going to I think tulip leaves are a little more lighter green. This is a yellow green that I'm going to start with. And I'm going to add with it, this is my hooker green, just a darker green. And see what I think of that. Let's see, I don't have any big scraps here, but I have a little one here. I actually think that's a little too dark. Might add just a little more of that yellow, lighter yellow. I can accent some with that darker green, but I prefer to have the initial be the lighter green. I'm going to start with the back one. Well, actually, I'm going to put all the stems in. We'll do those first, and I kind of like to have them, they're underneath there, and kind of, I'm going to take this one, I'm going to take it right off the page as well. Mainly because I just think tulips are really, really tall. If you can keep some space in your stem, it just gives it a little more character. If it was damp, that would have been fine too. You could have blended it in. That's fine. I'm not sure I should have gone this low with that one, but that's okay. And the reason I'm saying that is because I might find that where my leaves are going to go, but I'm going to make sure that goes over top. And sometimes you need to turn your paper upside down. That's okay. This one really should be a little more V shape here. They really are kind of. But again, this is a loose watercolor, so you don't have to be exact. Though I do know the stems on a tulip are really pretty straight. All right, so that's our stems. I'm going to work on this one first because I want that one to be the back flower, or yeah, the back one. So I'm going to bring my leaf. I'm going to just come here and go down, and there's not enough paint on there. This is where a bigger brush would probably be better, but it's not what I have in my hand. So, and I'm going to kind of wave him and make him a little bigger. This is where you want to make sure you've had enough green made so that you'll be able to get them all pretty close to the same color. Now you see how this is starting to spread, and that's okay because I want this leaf to be a little bit wider. In fact, I'd like it even wider down below. There. I'm probably going to take a little bit of the green and just a few places give it different color just to make it have a little bit more. They could get stems, and I'm going to show you how you can do your stem. That particular paintbrush won't let me do it, but you can take the back of your brush and you can just run some veins up there to give them kind of a vein look. Okay, let's do the other side. This one I want it, because it's so close to the edge, I'm going to have it be the one that comes around. So I'm going to have it come all the way over the stem where I want to get rid of the look of the stem. That's why I said earlier we didn't really have to paint the stem all the way down to the bottom. And now we're going to bring this one off the page because chances are in the ground it's probably down there somewhere. And I want it to be a little thicker. They also are a little wavier, but sometimes making waves on leaves is not all that easy, but you can try. You just kind of, like so. Come back with your dark again, and give it a little more wave. And define on this side as well. And you've got your first one done. We're gonna go ahead and put the veins in there like we did the other one. There's tulip number 1 done. I can see I'm gonna end up having to make some more green. So while we chat here a second, I'm gonna just whip some more up. Hopefully close. I'm gonna go to this one next, and I'm only gonna give this one 1. It's gonna be the one that scoops over. Here, let's go this way. So I'm gonna go up and then come down. That's gonna be the general leaf right there. And I want that one to come off the page, and I want it to come on the other like it's wrapping the stem. Touch that one over there. I have to work upside down because otherwise I'll touch my other one. I'm trying hard to make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing. I noticed on my last video, I worked more towards the bottom of the page. Not on purpose, but just happened to be the way where I laid it. I keep wanting to put my hand in here. Sometimes you just need to take a coffee break and come back so that your project can dry a little bit so you don't touch it. But I see they made gloves too. I haven't tried those, but I hear they've got gloves that you can wear. They're like a half a glove. And basically it helps to not lay your hand in the paint. Kind of cool. That side a little darker, and then this side I want to make darker too. I want the underneath, like it's gonna be, if you feel like you're too dark, just take some paint off, move it down. I definitely want this to have darker on the underneath. Okay. And again, depending on your paper and how rough it gets, sometimes you just want to go through and make the lines a little smoother. Okay, I'll give this one a few veins. Something's on the end of this brush. Okay. Hoping this one is dry. It is. Okay, now we're going to do the middle one. And as you looked at this picture, how I did that, you see how the leaf went over top here? That's our goal. And that's why I wanted the other one to be somewhat dry, so that when I go for it, I'm actually going to add the little bit more of the hooker green. I'm going to make it a little darker on that one, just because I want the contrast as it comes over top of the other one. And this one as well is going to be wrapping it, and because we're off the paper, it's wrapping it way down. And I think we'll go just like that. It will be easier if the paint is darker so that it covers your other leaf that you already painted, because that's part of the object. Over here a minute. And try to maybe get a little more swooping out of this one. That little fun, the look that they really do have. The waves. If you ever get to Holland for tulip time, make sure you check out the tulips. Okay, and then we're going to come with our brush here, the end of our brush, and try to give it some veins again. These really turned out dark. These didn't turn out as dark. Okay. Last but not least, the last leaf here. And he is going to come up to that one because he's kind of, oops, I don't want him quite that fat. But if that happens, just bring him up higher. I want his leaf to be as if it's going behind that one. And I think I'm going to try to make him a little wiggly on this side. All right. So, those are the tulips. Those are the words. I am going to pause a second and get this dry, and then I'm going to show you how to do the ink. Okay, we've got it dry. One thing I did not tell you, I messed up, but I didn't want to come back in, was I did add just a little dark hooker green along the one side of the stem. I like to have just a little contrast on that one side if you can. Now we're going to take our number 5 micron pen, and I'm going to do the middle one, okay? I might not do all of them. I'm actually going to raise me up just a little so I can get my pen under there. My micron pen is getting very dry, and I'm going to tell you what, I like my micron pens dry, to be very honest, because I can get a more skippy line. But same breath, I want a few little more solid lines. See if I got one that's a little darker. This one's a little more. I want that to, just those main lines on the outside are like a little bit darker, or on the outline. And I try not to just do straight lines. I try to jag them a little bit. I try to skip them some. Some people like the look of it being solid. That's totally up to you. And then my drier one here is the one, or if you have a finer one, works good. This is my going dead one, I call it. And I'm going to try to make the lines a little bit the way the tulip is going to go. So it might be a little darker at the tip. Here's what we did. It might be darker down here, so I might put a little more. But when you angle your lines, make sure you angle them the way your tulip is going. Okay, then we're going to come down the stem. Back to my little heavier one here a minute. And you don't have to stay in the lines, that's not the object. Make sure when you come to the bottom here, this is the leaf that's gonna be totally out in the open. So we wanna make sure we totally get him as a solid line. So what I mean by that is, he's gonna be the dominant one. And when we do this one, make sure that you stop so it doesn't look like you went over top of him. He's got to be underneath. Same as when you come here, okay? I'm going to come back with my other one, and I'm going to just make some of these jaggedy lines. Now, the other way, if your pen is newer, like this one's newer, so we'll do this a minute. We'll put that one in. Now I'll take it on my side of the pen a little bit more to get lighter and look more skipped. See how that one comes darker and this one comes lighter for that. Okay, that's the first one done. I'm going to pause it, take your time, do yours as well, and I'll come back and we'll finish up. All right, I'm back. You can see what I've done with mine. I've got all of it filled in. The words are filled in. If I was doing a card, I have a couple pens that I really like. I use the white a lot, Unipocus, and the gold. And as I did on that one, I'm going to do on here just because I thought it really added some cool character. And I'm going to just make a line at the top on the side here so I can kind of frame my verse and page in. This is the 1 millimeter. The 1 millimeter. Shake it as paint. Works really good. Something you could do even more on here. You could put some gold and really kind of sharp, make it stand out a little bit. Just to dress it up. It's hard to see, but to me it really kind of puts some new character to it. You could do the same on the tulip itself if you wanted. And that is where you highlight it. Just to, especially if you were doing a card and you wanted it to have a little more flair. You could add the gold. That's totally up to you. You could even do the white. I do find with the white, what happens with the white, sometimes it takes over the color. So on this here, it may turn pink. If you felt like you needed a little more highlights in a few spots, you're going to find that sometimes it takes over the color. But overall, I like the white a lot. I might even, because I have a thing about one color, I'm going to take my black and I'm going to just sketch it with my gold, because I think it ties the black and the gold all together. And that would make a beautiful card as well, but it's a beautiful journal page, and I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for joining me. Have a great day.